Welcome in Bears Nation podcast. It is Wednesday, September 28th. Welcome to your week 4 preview of Bears at Giants. Myself, Jake Hassan, joined as always by Kevin Lapka. Kevin, hello.
Hello, Jake. How are you? We didn't see you for the post-game show of the Texans, which is unfortunate. Well, maybe it's not unfortunate because I don't think you would have had a good time. I think you would. I was expecting a lot.
It would have been very combative. I was a little disappointed in yours and Kellen's reaction, and we'll address it. We will get to what was addressed on the post-game show. My reaction, which I suppose we could just do right now. Justin Fields just probably stinks, dude.
No,
he probably just stinks.
Gotta stop.
What part of Sunday's game against the Texans made you go, yeah, this is the dude? Point to me which throws exactly made you go, oh yeah, this is the guy.
There are throws that make you think that. All right.
Which ones?
The one to Darnell Mooney in the middle of the field. There's the one to Cole Kmet where he's fitting in a tight window. All right, but again, like there's context to these things.
So there's two of those which equal the two terrible interceptions, which for the second week in a row now.
Ball slipped out of his hand again with the throw to Cole Kmet. That's like
at which point does that stop though? This was my point last week. Like all we wanted to see from Justin Fields was games strung together. He's doing that. But just with the bad stuff, like we're getting games strung together of the terrible plays. Like there is like this upcoming quarterback class in this upcoming draft is awesome. Like there are going to be a lot of really good quarterbacks, and not to mention there's going to be a guy named Lamar Jackson who's a free agent because there's 0% chance that he's staying in Baltimore.
Oh, that is no. That is the most false thing.
There's not a 0%, but it's low. It is high. I would say it's much higher that he leaves.
No, I disagree because the Ravens are not a stupid franchise, and to let that guy.
They're not a stupid franchise, which is why they might be the smart ones to just here. Thanks for the 5 years. Thanks for the probably 2 MVP awards. Now we're gonna go into this again loaded QB draft, and we'll do it again.
It will do it again, and you take a chance on someone when you know you have an MVP.
The Ravens famously don't spend a ton of money. The Bears have a ton of money to spend next year.
We're not,
and they have the need.
We're not starting Lamar Jackson to the Bears rumors yet.
Why?
This is not what we're doing here. As the Bears are 2-1 ahead of the game against the New York Giants.
Kevin,
they could be 3-1.
Ken Barkley, you bet. He ran his projection, his simulation for the rest of the season. I'll let you guess where the Bears end up in the draft.
Number 3 overall.
No, close though. It is top 5.
I don't look simulation math. Fuck the simulation. I'm sorry. I love you, Kid Barkley. Fuck the simulation. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
This is where I fuck the simulation. The simulation said the Bears will be 0-3 right now. We're 1-2, and the simulation was wrong. So here's where we are. What did the simulation say though? For the bit, what did it say?
That the Bears end up with the 5th pick. Like the Bears are going to be a bad team. The Bears are a bad team.
The Bears will not have anything above this 7th overall pick. And
that's what you're putting the 7th. Really, 2 picks away.
Well,
like,
I mean,
this game, like Kevin, let's put it this way: we can agree that the Bears are not a Super Bowl winning team this year, correct?
Yeah, they're not a Super Bowl winning team this year, but
they're likely they're likely not a playoff team.
Likely not. But it's certainly
let's say they get in as the last seed in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then what they just get pistol whipped by whoever the 1 seed is.
Sure. And I don't care. Well, the 2 seed, because if they were the 7th, they play the 2. The 1 gets by. By the Packers
or like the Bucks.
Sure. That gives
Rams?
you have Jake. You have an extremely young
or the Eagles.
Team. You have the Eagles are a beatable team. We'll see what happens in that game later in December. But I'm not as scared of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles as I would be of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Here's my point, though. This was leading to another point before you derail me, as you always do, by getting me angry.
I need to derail you because it deserves to be derailed.
Here's the point. Here's my point. The Bears are not winning a Super Bowl this year. They're probably not even winning a playoff game. They're winning 1 at most. I don't even think they make the playoffs. So in that vein, Wouldn't you rather do like
No.
this is what the Bears do? Because then you end
No.
up in purgatory forever. Justin Fields is
Nope.
probably not the guy.
That's not
So
true.
wouldn't
You
so
can't
like
say that yet.
like this
You
game,
cannot say
this
that yet.
game coming up Sunday could have huge ramifications of where you end up in the draft because the Giants are probably going to be right down there with you.
Yeah, so I want them to win. Like, I don't care. Like, I do not care about your draft. It does not matter to me. You have a young football team, right? And we said this on the post-game show or not even like a couple of days ago with Kellen. Like, you have a young football team. The most important thing you can do is win football games, establish a winning culture, understand what it's like to be in a winning locker room so that when you start to lose, you never want to be there again because you've established a standard of winning football. And this is what we're going to do with the Matt Eberflus regime. And once you get obsessed with winning, losing after that sucks. And you're going to work your ass off even harder to get back to that feeling of winning. The wins are the most important thing. I do not care about draft position right now. I do not care about, the development of Justin Fields over wins. That's been the huge conversation in, the Chicago media sphere is, should you prioritize the development of Justin Fields over your team winning football games? No, you should not. Win as many football games as possible. This is what you do. This is what good teams do. This is how good teams are built. You look at teams that never rebuild, Jake. There are teams that never rebuild, right? The Baltimore Ravens never rebuild. The Patriots rarely ever rebuild. The Packers don't rebuild. And yeah, they've had quarterbacks who have been here for so long. But the best teams who are perennially year after year good, even when they are going through changes in their organization, they don't tank. They don't rebuild. They don't, they still show signs of being a winning football team. And it's not just about being a winning football team anymore, right? Like, who knows? Matt Eberflus could be gone in 3 years. Like, you just don't know. You don't know. I mean, I don't believe that to be true. I say I don't believe that to be true. Okay. But you talk about this, the things that are wrong with this organization. It's like, it's fundamentally wrong from an organizational standpoint, not just from a team to team standpoint. Like, things are fundamentally wrong with the organization. I mean, that's why everyone says the Bears are cursed, because it doesn't matter who they hire. The organization is just, operated in a wrong way. Well, you can change that by winning football games, regime to regime, and, establishing the makings of a good organization. If you don't think that these guys are going to be here forever, you are going to have guys who will be here. You will have leaders who will be here, players who will be here for 5+ years. Like, we hope Roquan Smith gets a contract and is here for 5 more years. You hope that Darnell Mooney, if he improves a little bit more than what we've seen the first 3 weeks, is here for a while. Justin Fields, right? Like, you need to establish a culture and an identity that this is an organization from now on that is going to be a winning organization. And we're not doing this anymore. We're not cycling back to rebuild. We try it out with 4 years and then we rebuild again, and we try it out and we rebuild. No, good organizations do not do that. The best organizations in the league stay good because they reload with talent, they find value in the draft, and they have confidence in the quarterbacks. And that's the most important thing. And they find the right quarterbacks, but I still think that they have the right guy in Justin Fields. Jake, the biggest thing is this, and this is why you're right when you talk about, these next games being important. I'm still not, again, he hasn't even played a full season. And to me, I know I've said it so much. It's an important thing to remember, Jake. It's an important thing to remember. What's also important to remember is it was his 3rd game last week in a completely new system. There's truth to that as well. I'm not making excuses. Justin Fields played like shit. Okay, I'll say it.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row.
Really, 3 weeks in a row.
Sure. And then I wouldn't say 3 weeks in a row. He played well in that 49ers game given the circumstances. All right. He threw the ball 11 times and he had 2 touchdowns. He had 8 completions and 2 of them were touchdowns. He played well in that first game. But I forget where I was going with this now. Like, the bottom line is there are factors that and look, they're not excuses. These are real things. All right. But you're right. We do need to start seeing it. Like, at some point, the excuses have to stop, and they will stop when he produces. I think he's just so far in his head. I mean, this is where I'm at with the whole situation. And this is not the place where you want to be. I feel like I hate because this was the whole.
Oh, you think?
Well, I'm just talking about the conversation turning from like a fundamental standpoint to like a mental standpoint, because sometimes, like, I saw myself, and I'll be honest, I'll be brutally honest with you. I saw myself like sort of making that excuse with Mitch, but to an extent it was warranted. Like, if you don't have confidence in yourself, and Kellen said this, he plays quarterback, you're not going anywhere. If you don't have confidence, when you are taking a snap and there are 4 300-pound, 250-plus-pound men running at you, and you have to get the ball like this. If you're not confident in your ability and your decision-making, you're not going to be good. And right now, I get this feeling that he's just not confident. He's just not confident in himself. And that is, to me, like the biggest mistake that bothers me, but is fixable.
Well, I mean, we argued it was fixable with Mitch, too, and look what's about to happen. He's about to lose his job for the second time now to Kenny Pickett, first time in Pittsburgh.
I think they're different players. I think
here's the thing. Here's the thing when you talk about the confidence and what, like, Justin Fields up until this point has not come off to anybody, me, you, anybody you ask, like a guy that lacks confidence. Not in his media answers, not in how he carries himself on the field. So if he's not confident, there is nothing that I have seen that convinces me that that's fixable. If he's not confident at the moment right now, if you're in the NFL and you're not confident and the lack of winning rattles you, you shouldn't be in the NFL. Like, that's just not how it works. You're going to lose games. If losing rattles you that badly, where you lose confidence in yourself and your performance starts to suffer, you shouldn't be in the NFL. You're not cut out for it. You're right. You're right. And here's the thing, like, I'm all for giving Justin Fields time, but at what point do we start to say, like, the Houston Texans? Really? Like, and at this point, if he's not confident in himself, then who else is supposed to be? The coaching staff? If they say, hey, Justin, we want you to make these throws, okay, then why aren't they asking him to throw? If neither the coaching staff nor the player himself are confident in himself, it's over. It's curtains. They're going to keep having you run the ball. And granted, the Bears have the luxury of a good running game. They have Dave Montgomery, who was running all over everybody before he got hurt, and Khalil Herbert, who then ran all over everybody once he got in. They have that luxury. But it's the Texans, and you can't throw on the Texans. You can't tell me that you're not going to ask your quarterback to throw 20 times against Lovie Smith's defense from 2005? What are we doing here? At what point, like, if they do the same thing against the Giants and they only let him throw 15 to 17 times and he throws a couple bad interceptions, I'm out. It's over. You can't perform against the Texans or the Giants. It's over. Like, that's curtains for you, dude. Like, how are you supposed to build confidence after that if you can't play well against two of the most bottom-feeding teams in the NFL?
So the part that you mentioned earlier, which is important, is it starts with, I believe, the coaching staff having confidence in having confidence in Justin. Like, that to me, and
but if they might be warranted though.
No, they
might be warranted.
No,
Kevin, they know, the people in that building, we hope God know better than we do and know how to evaluate talent better than we do. We hope. God, I hope they know better than at least I do. I won't speak for your football mind, but I hope to God they're smarter than me in that building. They might know better than we do. There might be a reason that he's only thrown the ball a handful of times.
That's the wrong way to think, though. If it is true that Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus and the offensive coaching staff do not have confidence in Justin Fields, they should all be fired immediately. That is the biggest crime you can commit for a young QB. You came in. Again, this was the same conversation with Mitch. You're hired, and you're hired for two reasons. You're hired to win football games, and you're hired to develop Justin Fields. That's why that's why Luke Getsy is brought in. Like, you are hired. You have a talent here.
Okay, but you're saying you're hired to develop Justin Fields, but now a couple minutes ago you also said you just got to win games. The Bears just don't, eventually there's going to come a time in the season where the Bears don't have the personnel to win games. Like, they just don't. Like you said, yeah, sure, they have young guys that you hope are here. So at that point, if you know yes, you should beat the Texans. And yes, you should beat, God, I hope, the Giants. But if you don't, then you have to prioritize the development of those guys at the expense of some of these. At certain points, you're not going to be able to do both. At certain points, you won't be able to do both. So if you got to pick one. You got to pick one, because you can't talk about this changing the culture and establishing the winning culture. Quarterback is the most essential part of an NFL team. We agree on that, I believe. So if you don't think Justin Fields is there yet, and if you think you could get it there by the end of the season, you got to prioritize that. I don't care if you go ahead, lose to the Giants this week. But if you do a game plan that helps Justin Fields play well, and then you can't do both.
No, you can't do both. You can't do both, because there is a correlation between the development of Justin Fields and winning football games. If they believe, Justin Fields,
he's not developed yet. That's my point.
Because they're not even giving him a chance to develop. That's the problem. there is a correlation, right? Because I promise you, Jake, the Chicago Bears are 2-1. They're 2-1, and they have the worst passing offense. It's 2022. They have the second best rushing offense in the NFL, the worst passing offense in the NFL, and they're 2-1. And they didn't get blown out by the Green Bay Packers. They beat the 49ers by 2 scores. They barely stuck by the Texans, but they're 2-1. So if Justin Fields develops here, they give him opportunities and he succeeds, guess what that means? More wins. There's a correlation. These two things aren't independent of each other. The development of Justin Fields equals more wins. This is why I said throw the ball 40 times with him this week. I don't care. Justin Fields is not bad at football. I'm here to tell you, Justin Fields is not bad at football. But there's a lot of different factors with this. The protection sucks still. I don't care what you say about Sam Mustafa's pass block win rate. I said it on the episode a couple of days ago. ESPN can screw off. All right, like Sam Mustafa is not have a 100% pass block win rate.
Well, to be fair, you might be getting Lucas Patrick this week anyway.
Exactly. If you
like Sam Mustafa was always a fill-in.
Like,
to be fair,
yes, he 100%. And I said this before. God bless his heart, right? Like valuable again for an undrafted guy who is playing, important snaps for you. Like we love Sam Mustafa for that. But is he the best?
I'm sure he's a very pleasant man.
I'm sure he's a great guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good teammate, right? That's what they say. He's a great teammate. Like we love Sam Mustafa, but if you go back and watch Justin Fields' interceptions last week, watch them. And on both of them, you'll see one thing: hit as he throws or immediately after. All right. Yep. And you see those 2 throws that I pointed out in the beginning of the show. You said, what did he do right in that game? And I said, well, he threaded the needle to Komet. He had a nice strike to Darnell Mooney. You watch both those plays, you'll see the fact that he had a clean pocket in both of them. Okay. I am not going to fully evaluate Justin Fields until I see him have pockets like Josh Allen gets and have pockets like Patrick Mahomes gets and have pockets like Tom Brady gets. All right. There's not a single quarterback in the league that'll be putting up 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns with the type of protection that he's gotten this year. It's just not true. And then you look at this, like here we are saying our play action, right? Bootlegs. This is what we're going to do this year. Right. And all I see when they do play action is the moment he fakes the handoff to the running back and drops back, there's a defender, Jalen Petrie, in his face. Like, there's just a guy
to
right
be fair,
there.
Petrie's probably going to be really, really good, to be fair.
And that was our guy in the draft process. So a little bit of credit to us for that. But, like, again, there's a fine line between reasons and excuses. And right now, these are reasons. Like, these are legitimate reasons why he's struggling. Like, I don't think the receiving core is a reason. I mean, there's 100% both. Like, again, he still is not playing good football. Like, that is a fact. But you have to remember, he probably would be playing better football if he had more clean pockets, if he was a little.
You could say that about anybody,
and play action. I don't know if you can say that with everybody. I don't know if you can say that with everybody.
Most quarterbacks in the NFL.
Maybe.
90, 95, I don't know, picks like Sam Darnold probably just stinks. Geno Smith probably
stinks.
Geno Smith probably just stinks.
Marcus Mariota stinks. It's
most of these guys, yes, that the same could be said. If you give them a clean pocket, of course.
Here's what needs to happen. Let's talk about this Giants game. All right.
Let me ask you one more forward-thinking Justin Fields question.
Okay.
Let's say he continue, and I know you don't believe that he will. That's fine. Put yourself in my brain for a second.
I'll do
the sports side, because the rest of it is scary. But at what point do you get worried about Justin Fields if he continues to have games, let's say like he did against the Texans, where there's 2, for 1-to-1, for every good throw, there's a bad throw. It doesn't necessarily have to be an interception, but it's a bad throw. Or let's say for every good decision, there's an equally as bad one. When do you start to get worried? Is it after the Giants game? Is it after the Commanders game? Is it after, I'm picking out the bad teams. Is it after the Falcons game, the Jets game? When, or does it just not happen until after the season? Do you have to see a full, at what point is Kevin Lapka?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Justin Fields starting to think maybe the Bears should move on. Thank you.
Sorry, you kind of lagged for a second. My bad if I cut you off. I just looked at the schedule again. I'll say the Lions game on November 13th. If things are still really bad at that point.
Okay, so you're giving it roughly a month and a half.
Sure, and I'm not. Look, there's a difference between worried and draft CJ Stroud at that moment. There is a difference there. I've seen.
Wait, you said the Vikings game on what day?
The Lions game on November.
Oh,
the
Lions
Lions
game.
Yeah.
Lions game. Okay.
Lions game November 13th. So that is, about a month and a half. Yeah, what you said, like a month and a half away. Jeez, can't believe November 13th is like a month and a half away. That is crazy.
Roughly.
But again, like when we get to that point, I think he'll be a much better quarterback by that point. And I'll, put that out for everyone to hear. But if it's still, worrisome at that point, it's still for me not, hey, draft CJ Stroud, draft Bryce Young, trade up in the draft, get rid of Justin. No, like we've seen this before with quarterback. Like I know the Josh Allen situation and path of his career is it's really rare. Like it really is. Like it's an anomaly. It 100% is an anomaly, but there is truth to it. Okay. There is truth to it. And it's just, if you were to give, like, I can't just be out on him before you give him a weapon like Jackson Smith and Jigba, or give him another guy and like give and improve the line a little bit. And then if you get to a point where everything is correct, you're in a second, you're talking about 2023 now, you're in the second year of a system. You've got maybe a couple more playmakers who, are known for getting open. Your offensive line is good enough and he still struggles then you can have the conversations at that point about being out on him. Because at that point, all bets are off. At that point, if he still sucks, yeah, you can talk about, a new guy in the class.
The only problem I have with that is then if that's the case in your scenario, then you have to toss out 2023 and you lose another year, which sucks.
Yeah, but
like in that scenario, you've now lost two seasons. The first 2 seasons of the Ryan Poles, Matty Rufus era.
Sure, but you got to bank on his talent. Like people have to remember what you told yourself when he was drafted, right? Like don't forget it, Jake. This is the most purely talented quarterback to ever walk through Hallis Hall. All right? Like there is truth to that. And I just can't sit here and believe to myself, I watched this guy, more than anyone in Chicago Bears media. All right. I was at every, like I've said it a million times on the show and I sound like an asshole for saying it, but I was at all those Ohio State home games, the only one in the stands. All right. Because it was COVID and I was doing video work. I was the only one there. I've seen this guy. I know who he is. And what we're seeing right now is not a reflection of who he is. But as we preview, do you want a closing statement on this before we preview it for the Giants game?
Yeah. And this actually does segue nicely into the Giants game. Famously, Dave Gettleman and the Giants wanted Justin Herbert. Like Dave Gettleman wanted Justin Herbert for the Giants. Yes. But they passed because they wanted to give Daniel Jones one more shot. How's that worked out for them? So it's like
here's what I'll tell you.
You can't risk going into that
Daniel Jones.
I generally agree, but at the situation like you can't pass on. I mean, let's say you have a top 5 pick. Let's say you pull 49ers and you jump up a couple or something. I don't know, whatever. Let's say you're in a position to draft a CJ Stroud, or even if Will Levis keeps playing well, or any one of these upcoming quarterbacks. This is going to be a very strong quarterback class. There's probably going to be at least 2. There's definitely going to be at least 2 in the top 5, maybe 3. Yeah. The point being that if you have a chance at one of those guys and you're there sitting with your finger on the phone or on the button, use whatever analogy you want.
It's not happening.
And then you say, but we should probably give Justin Fields one more shot just in case. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, what are the Giants going to do now? The Giants are about to waste a year because of Daniel Jones. Really, last year too. Like, if the Giants had gotten Justin Herbert, granted, like Joe Judge was terrible and probably still doesn't go great, but imagine Justin Herbert with Brian Daboll right now.
Like, I don't even know if Brian Daboll is a good offensive coordinator, but that's a good play caller. That's a different that's a different conversation. So far, so good. But again, this whole thing, and I said it on the show earlier. This whole thing about hiring coaches because of their rapport and their success with quarterbacks.
That you can't just pass on a guy who could be the guy.
Yeah, he could be the guy, Jake. That's what you're saying. He could be the guy. You don't know. Like he at that point has the same exact potential to be great as Justin Fields does. You don't know.
No. Yes. If Justin Fields has essentially, that's dicey. That's all I'm saying. I mean, obviously we disagree on this and we can talk ourselves in circles on this, but that's all I'm saying. Like, just be aware of that situation. Like, we can only do this Justin Fields thing for so long.
And we will, because he's going to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears for 10 years. So
God, I hope so.
He will be.
God, I hope so.
And it starts next Sunday, or this Sunday, against the New York Football Giants at MetLife in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Let's go.
Yeah, I
Go
think they
ahead.
lose this game.
Okay, well, we're gonna like. Did you just forget the whole agenda of our show, the
Yeah, it's
itinerary?
it's funnier this way though.
No, let's start with this. Let's start with Justin Fields, but how as it pertains to this game. No future talk, no
Fine.
2023, no 2024, no 2025. This is October 2nd. What's the day
Yeah,
of that
October
game?
2nd.
October 2nd.
Yes, sir.
Justin Fields,
Oh God.
clean slate. All right. New start. But here's what you need to take in all seriousness,
Oh my
and
God.
I'm serious. This is real shit. What are you laughing at?
How are you gonna sit here and tell me Justin Fields clean slate 3 games into the NFL season? What are we doing
Because
here?
what do you mean? What are we doing here? That's the perfect mentality, and that's the correct mentality.
Okay, go.
What do you mean?
Continue your point. Continue your point.
The
Then
point is
we'll
this.
circle back.
The point is this. All right. This guy right now is so far in his head, it's not even funny, right? And we talked about this. We said, Simeon Kelly, who actually I forgot to tell you that he's going to join the show next week. That'll be interesting.
That's
But
it.
is posting videos of Justin running on the treadmill, on the bike, immediately after the game. And there's a part of me that loves it, right? Part of me that loves it. But at the same time, like
I mean, you
he
were
just
singing his
needs
praises all off season for it.
yeah, and there's that's the Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan mentality. But the analogy I made last week was Michael Jordan also was not afraid to go play golf the day of a game 6 of the finals and get drunk and bet thousands of dollars with a player from the team he was about to play. Like you have to at some point like loosen up, remember who you are, right? I feel like he's kind of losing touch with himself as a player, and that's the most dangerous thing you can do. Like remember your abilities, like remember how good you are at football. Like don't be afraid to throw it downfield and hit the open man. And I know he says in press conferences that he's hesitant, or that he's not hesitant rather. Well, no, he is. And he is. Like let's be honest, he's hesitant and he's not throwing. He's I think he's like the only quarterback in the NFL who hasn't attempted a ball into a tight window this year. And if you look at his numbers last year in that category, like he was top 5 in intended air yards per target. Like
To be fair, you did just say
intended,
he made a great pass in traffic last week
right.
or
And
5 days ago.
it seemed like he was in traffic, but how the NFL categorizes as tight window, it didn't meet that criteria. Okay. So, but the bottom line is he needs to just get some confidence and get in a rhythm. It's like, well, how does that happen? Right. Because we say these things and yeah, it sounds so easy. It sounds so easy. Like, you know what? Just tell yourself you're good at football. Just have a little bit of confidence, like how hard can it be? You have total control over it. Just be confident, right? How hard is it? Well, no, it is hard when, you're not connecting with guys early in the game. And that's why all I want to see in the first quarter is like short shit, bro. Like, I don't even care if you go 3 and out 3 straight times, but you pass the ball 9 times and he completes every single one of them. But you go 3 and out every single time. If you're hitting on a 3-yard slant route to Darnell Mooney, if you're hitting on a 4-yard out route to Cole Kmet, if you're just establishing this rhythm and this connection, because Jake, that's what you see when you go back and you watch these games and you see what's wrong. There is no rhythm. There's no pace in the way he's operating the offense. And I think like at some point, and I made the analogy to other sports, right? Like in baseball, just slow it down, take it to the right side. In basketball, you just got to hit a mid-range jumper from the elbow before you want to go back to shooting a bunch of threes. Like hit the layups, reestablish your confidence, reestablish your rhythm. And then once he gets that confidence back, Jake, when Justin Fields is a confident football player, he is lethal. When he's ready to absolutely take it to the other team, he is lethal. He's not at that point, but he can get to that point in this game if all they do is have trust in him, let him throw the ball a little bit in the first quarter and establish those connections and establish, that rhythm that he's been lacking. Do you see what I mean? Is that achievable to you, Jake? It should be, but I feel like you think it's impossible. It's not.
I don't think it's impossible, but it's just like, at what point do we like? I agree, the passing offense needs to be better. But that being said,
Yeah,
like from the confidence standpoint, the blocking has, for the most part, through 3 games at least, been better than it was last year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you lagged out. It's been better than what?
Would you agree that the pass blocking this year through 3 games has been better for the most part than last year's?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you agree
Last
that
year was really
receivers are
bad.
getting more open this year than last year? Because if you look at
I don't
if you look like
know.
there's a lot of these plays, like if you look at Kevin Fishbane's all 22 recap day,
So
some of those receivers Sunday, and yes, I know the all 22 is like a luxury that we get after the game, obviously. But like I read this article every week. Like now this is the third week in a row where at least on a more consistent basis, receivers seem to have more separation than last year because of the route running and because the scheme is scheming them open more consistently better than last year.
I'll tell you where the difference is in that. A
Did you
lot
just
of
have an
those open
aneurysm?
plays, yeah, sure look like it. A lot of those open plays are, later developing down the field, right? Like at least 2 seconds after the snap.
Fair
And
to your point. That
they're
needs to
getting
be better.
open then. Right, they're getting open then, but they're not getting open in under 2 seconds, and that's the difference. Like, they're not getting open early enough, and that's where Justin Fields needs to have success. That's where the best quarterbacks in the league are having success right now. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen and Tom Brady. It's time to snap, 1.5 seconds, ball out, open receiver on a slant route. They're not getting open in that aspect, and that's why it's like, it just doesn't make sense. Like if you don't believe your pass blocking is that good, why are you designing things that are
Right.
waiting for things to develop? Yeah, he's open
Agreed.
at that point, but guess what? Like I don't want to. You can't wait that long. I don't care if Equinemius St. Brown is running streaking down the field 40 yards like 3 seconds later. Like no, like give me some guy open immediately. So like if you were to say in general, sure they're getting more open in general, but it's still not in a way that's helping your quarterback. Let's put it that way. In my opinion,
Sure.
I
I mean, we've been
that's just
saying the
my
word
dumb
slant
opinion.
route on this show for like a year and a half now.
Who
So
would have
to your point,
thought? Not even a year and a
right.
half. Like,
A
God,
long
just
time.
give me a slant.
Right.
God.
To your point, yes. And to your earlier point that we spent the first 20 minutes of this podcast arguing about, like you do have to help your quarterback at some point. And it seems like a lot of these Luke Getsy, routes are longer developing and based a lot on the faith in the pass blocking, which of course with a rookie left tackle and a rookie, I don't even want to what position you want to classify Tevin Jenkins, rotating offensive lineman, like and a guy who just got a club off his hand last week, like, yeah, you're going to have some issues. But, man, I mean, I would love, like, I agree with you for the most part. Like, you have to help him out, and, like, you got to do some of these quick hitters at some point. And maybe then that does help his confidence. I don't know. But it's just like, man, some of these looks are just brutal of, like, him holding the ball too long.
Right. And there is truth to that. There is truth to him holding the ball too long, but again, that goes hand in hand with the rhythm thing. So that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's like just allow him to get the ball out of his hands immediately. Like have an option open for him to do that. Because again, in all those plays that you're watching where, oh, he's got a man open. Yeah, he's got a man open down the field. Like I don't think you're seeing him miss a lot of men open like underneath and a lot of easier routes. Like I don't think he's really missing those guys. Like from what I've seen. So that's the difference. All right. And then you look at the Giants defense. So obviously the thing to consider, and it kind of became misconstrued once he struggled against the Texans, because the case that I had made last week was, well, you also got to remember the fact that the defenses of both the 49ers and the Packers are good defenses. So the struggles against those two teams were relatively warranted, given, the fact that now the Packers have, shut down Tom Brady. They've looked good relatively, aside from the game against the Vikings. And then the Niners obviously have looked really good, especially this past week against the Broncos. But there's no excuse from an opponent standpoint when it comes to with the Texans. So that argument is slightly thrown out the window. But you look at the Giants defense, and this is definitely a vulnerable defense for sure. They're vulnerable from a run defense standpoint, but they're not a bad pass defense right now. Now, as far as opponent completion percentage, they're sixth best in the league, but the thing that they're not doing is getting pressure. They only have 3 sacks on the year. That's 30th in the NFL. So if there was ever a game where you might have a little bit of time,
Leonard Williams also
especially
didn't practice today.
Yes, and he's probably not going to play. Without him,
Likely,
they
right.
have nobody up front. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau, is he even still playing? I think he's out there, but they don't really have anyone else. Yeah, they don't have anyone else on that defensive front. And you watch that game against Dallas, like, if Cooper Rush can dice him up a little bit, like I know if just with the time Justin Fields can't. So like this is a defense. Like you're right.
Cooper
Like
Rush might be good too.
I don't know. But But
yeah, it's very bizarre.
no excuses from
Yes.
this defense is better than you. No, this defense is not good. You should theoretically, if you scheme up the plays right and you make things possible for Justin Fields and protect well, you should light this defense up. I wouldn't say light it up, but you should score enough points, like 27,
You should be able to hang 20 plus, get into the upper 20s. You should, if you let Justin Fields throw the ball, be able to have success. Obviously, the Bears through 3 weeks are having a lot of success with their running game. A lot of success. David Montgomery to Khalil Herbert basically didn't even bat an eye. Khalil Herbert won like whatever player of the week or runner of whatever bullshit award that they give out. Yeah, stupid crap.
Oh, come on. Love FedEx Player of the Week. Let's go. Were you not excited?
No. Who cares? It's a made-up award. I mean, they're all made up, but you get my point. Like, yes, this Giants defense is vulnerable. You can take advantage of this. Now, Jalen Johnson still not practicing. Dave Montgomery obviously not practicing, but we talked about this switch from running backs. Jalen Johnson not practicing. I think you'll be okay because, like we mentioned, it's Daniel Jones. That guy's not very good. And now also you're missing Sterling Shepard, who was their one, their two. He's out for the season too.
Led the team in receiving yards.
So, like, you're taking even more weapons away from a guy who needs as many as he can get. Now, the Giants also are a pretty good running team. Like, this game could be so ugly. Like, if you just commit to the run you have the way you have the last 2 weeks and you're not going to let Justin Fields throw it at all, you're putting yourself at a huge risk of losing this game because the Giants have an equally good running attack. Saquon Barkley looks awesome. Looks like comeback player of the year right now. And that just opens you up to, okay, a one possession game and something crazy happening at the end of the game. Like, you put yourself at risk. If you want to win this game handily, Justin Fields is going to have to throw, and he's going to have to throw well. But like we mentioned, that defense, there is the opportunity. So this is going to be very telling. In my eyes, this game is going to be very telling about the coaching staff's confidence in Justin Fields, where they're headed as far as their plans for him or what the rest of the season is going to look like. Because this is arguably you're going to be your best chance to let him let it rip. Because, like, say what you want about the Texans, they have a couple guys that can play on their defense, at least.
Their secondary was statistically good.
Yeah, and I know it's Lovie Smith's defense, and it's ancient as hell, but it still kind of produces, and they have good players. Like, the Texans' defense is better than the Giants, and the Texans' defense was healthier than the Giants, specifically the secondary, of course. So,
probably
if you don't let Justin Fields throw, you're opening up to something crazy happening in this game, and it tells me a lot about the progression of Justin Fields and what the coaching staff thinks about him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you when you say, if Justin Fields throws well and they give him a chance, that that's how you're going to win this game handily, and that's what you should do, right? Like this is your opportunity. You're 2-1, right? You believe that you're the better football team. The Giants, I would put them in the fraud category, if I'm being honest. I mean, week 1 they sneak away with the win because the Titans miss a field goal. They win that one 21-20. They sneak past the Panthers 19-16, and yeah, we snuck past the Texans, but still. And then they lose to Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys at home. I think we can categorize the Giants as mere frauds, but this is your chance now, like, the timing almost shakes out perfectly for you now, right? Because not only do you have a pretty easy schedule coming up, but this is like, if this had been the Bills this week, oh my God, sure, you'd be fucked because you've heard everything and you hear everything and things need to get right. Things need to get better. And, you got to go play Buffalo's defense. Like, no, you get lucky that you get a chance to play a team that's very beatable. You have a legitimate chance to, by next Monday, October 3rd, every single conversation we are having right now could look stupid if he goes out and throws for 300 yards and just 2 touchdowns. I'm 100% serious. Like, he has a chance to completely crush every single narrative that has been presented by media in the past week. He's got every single chance to do it.
Lagged for a second. Did you say 300 yards? Did you say 300 yards?
No,
yeah. Right.
Yeah. If he threw for 300 yards,
buddy, yes. I'll take 200 right now. The way things have been going.
No, but
I'll take 200.
You'll take that. But is 200 enough to squash every single narrative? Because that's what I mean. Is I want him to completely shut everyone up.
Regardless of how Justin Fields plays on Sunday, none of these narratives are getting completely squashed because you know what's going to happen. is people are going to
I
do
think
what we've already knew. Oh, it's the Giants. Oh, they stink. Okay, now can he put it together against the Vikings, against an actual defense?
Yeah, but
the following week, it's
yeah.
not. There is no realm. Even if he has the game that Mitch Trubisky had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all those years ago with the 6
No,
touchdowns,
there's a
like,
realm if he has that game.
even if he has that game, nobody's saying, "Oh, okay, like now, all right, we're good, we're on board." Nobody, especially it's Chicago media. Like that's just the beast of it. Like that's how it is.
It's fair. There's total fairness to that point. I understand that part
Exactly.
now. But like again, this is your chance to do something, right? Like, and I just want it so bad. And look, I think fuck the speculation. All right, I'm gonna put it on paper. I think he does it. Again, this is a player who traditionally, and we used to talk about this all the time last year because you saw it a lot last year. Game to game, he typically wouldn't struggle. Like if he had a bad game, and same thing play to play. Like last year when he made mistakes, he wouldn't make that mistake again. I mean, there was a couple games where he did. That Buccaneers game, one of them. But most times, like if he threw an interception, like he'd come back the next drive, not afraid to throw, come back, throw a touchdown, lead you down the field. And those were some of the most redeeming qualities about Justin Fields. And I think he's gonna that's something that's just innate in Justin Fields as a person. And I don't think that's something you can't lose. Like just that vengeance and just that ability to move on, I think is still there. And he might be struggling with it a little bit, but innately, like it's there. And I think this is the week where he's hurt it the most. This is the most he's struggled in his career. And he's ready to go out there and shut them up. Like he is so used to being the best. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, he's so used to being the best player ever since he was young that he's got this desire and this hunger to always be that. And I think he's going to return to that. And it's almost at the point, Jake, where like, I just want someone to like blatantly disrespect him. Like someone just needs to like just shit on him. So he has something to play for. So he just has a little and it's not, I'm not saying like, oh, he should be reading tweets before the game. I'm just saying just this general thought of, I want Justin Fields to play with a vengeance. I want him to play angry. I want to see the emotion like we saw.
Well, I mean, okay, Kevin, the problem with that is you got to pick one. Play relaxed and play confident, or play angry, because those are two different things. Because
I think they go hand in hand.
If you're playing angry, you're pressing. Like you're like, I'm gonna prove these guys are on. I'm gonna show them, and then your play.
Yeah, but also if you're confident, you're pressing too. Like those things are
we have different definitions of pressing, then.
If you're confident, I'm going to make this throw. Are you kidding me? I'm going to fit it into this.
Right. No, I agree with that. But if you're angry, you're like, I gotta make this throw. Like I gotta do this to show. If you're confident, you're like, okay, I got this. If you're angry, you're pressing. You're like, I need to do this right now to prove everyone else wrong.
You know what I'm trying to say. Like, come out with a vengeance. Come out with something to prove. I just want to see. Come out with something to prove. Little baby, something to prove. Like, this is what I want to see, right? Because the dude in college, and even in a couple games last year, he's a cold-blooded killer. Like when it comes down to it, like he's a cold-blooded killer, man. And you're not seeing that cold-blooded killer mentality right now. And I want to see that mentality on the field this week. I mean, that's why we loved him, right? Think about the reasons you loved him in the Steelers game and from out of college. It's because, man, he would just boom, he would just nail you. And he was just putting you in a coffin with this throw in the third quarter, man. Like I want to
to that point, the coaches have to help him out a little bit though, too. Like throw the ball more than 15 times. Like throw the ball more than 15 times.
So you're on board with that now, because now you got to make a decision, right? Like you want them to you want them to give him the chance this week, give him the opportunity, give him the opportunity.
Yes, because this is going to be your best chance. Like the Vikings have a solid defense. The Commanders, they kind of stink, but like what if you're going to do this up and down roller coaster thing, then like you're not going to do good. And that's going to suck for Justin Fields as well. Like that damages everything. And then you probably lose games that way too. So yeah, I mean, this is your best chance. I mean, the Texans game was a good chance. This is your best chance to prove that you have faith in Justin Fields and that you think Justin Fields can be the guy. This is your best opportunity. We said, and I'm probably going to look like an idiot when they only let him throw 18 times. And they're like, oh, well, we threw more. We gave him one more opportunity to throw. Like we're playing that game like we used to play with Mitch Trubisky. Oh, throw more. Okay, we went from 15 to 17 this week. Oh, we went from 17 to 18 this week. We're doing it, guys. Oh, well, then it goes back down. Oh, well, we wanted to commit to the run in that game. Like, this is your best opportunity to show that you think Justin Fields is the guy. And if you do, And if you, let's say you ask him to throw the ball 30 times and he has a stinker of a game, fine. Then I will be like, yeah, okay, he just might not be the guy. But like, this is your best opportunity to do that now. Either way, you're going to find out one thing or the other if you just let the dude throw this week.
I agree. I look, now you're speaking my language, Jake. Now we are on the same page here. Okay. Like
I
this
still think he
is,
might just stink, but
no, he doesn't. But and this is the thing to remember as well. Like if you look at his yards per completion, all right, he's 16th in the NFL, 10.2. So everyone wants to talk about like that's the stat that I'm going to look at a little bit more than
you get
or maybe
padded
yards
by
per attempt
that.
is probably the better stat. But like
You get padded
get
by
padded by
that
what?
plays like the Dante Pettis play.
I mean, why? Because that was just like. But the
Like that
thing,
was a
like
bomb,
it's
but like you've only let him throw 40 times. So
right. So it's inflated to that extent, but at the same
right.
time, like, yeah, like maybe it's the better metric because he's like you have to take like people because I say this to the people who are like, oh, he doesn't have 300 passing yards on the year, and that's all you want to talk about is he doesn't have the total stats. That's why like per game is always a better stat in my opinion because like you just don't like again the first game they played in the monsoon. Like I don't want to hear none of this shit about totals. Like get out of here with your totals. All right, he threw the ball like 11 times in that game. He threw the ball 17 times against the Texans. Like give him the chance. He's gonna if he threw the ball 30 times in that last game, he would have had at least 200 yards. All right, he would have had 200. It wouldn't have been 100. All right, he probably would have had more than that too. And here's the thing, Jake. He ain't getting no help from his receivers when it comes to them getting yards for him. And by that, I mean yards after the catch.
And
I
drops
mean,
too.
like, there's nothing. There's nothing. And like, he throws a strike to Darnell Mooney, and this isn't his fault, not all the time, but like, he's tackled immediately. Like Tua Tagovailoa leads I think he either leads it or is second right now in passing yards because he just throws the ball and Tyreek Hill takes it an extra 40 yards for him. And guess what? That's 40 yards for him. Like he's getting no help in those areas. Like almost all of his yards are just the air yards. There's nothing after the catch. Like we need to see that. And man, they hopefully get a boost if Velus Jones Jr. comes back this week because he is the king on this offense, at least, of yards after the catch.
Yeah, but also to that point, like with the you're not going to get those like air yards because those require like those Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill plays. Those come from the longer developing plays that we're saying, okay, you kind of have to eschew those for a little bit so that you can get these quick hitting, consistent, build a one step at a time type of throws. So it's like you're probably not going to get those big yardage chunk plays if you're just trying to build Justin Fields' confidence right now. Like at the moment,
no, but you can see, but you can. Right?
You can,
because
but
the Jameer Bird slant play, like that's a chunk play that's only 5 air yards.
But you're more likely to get those big like crazy plays on the longer developing ones where the receivers have time to run around. That's generally where you're going to get those.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, I would love to see both on Sunday. Would love to see both. But if you had to pick one, like you have to determine what you're valuing more, like the completions and the consistency or the big yards.
Yes.
So it's like you got to pick in that regard.
Well, the thing is, honestly, if you look at it, they're like 5th in the league in explosive plays because they had 18 explosive running plays. So if you just rely on your running game to get the explosive plays and just allow to move the ball with your passing game and then mix in the explosive runs, like that is a fine way to operate offensively. Like that's what the Ravens are pretty much doing. I mean, they're obviously having way more success passing, but like they get a lot of their explosive plays from Lamar Jackson just running the ball. And like, that's look, I just, because the formula obviously right now, it might win you football games for a period of time, but the moment you see Josh Allen across from you, and the moment you see, some Aaron Rodgers again across from you, the whole running for 250 yards each game ain't gonna work. It's 2022. Like at some point, it's funny because all the people in this city, all they want is running the football, and here we're giving it to them, and now they're pissed. But like, I never wanted that personally. This is 2022. Let's move on. But let's really quick.
You did say that.
Real quick, talk about Velus Jones Jr. The boost you get from him is limited. Yep. And I'm hoping, and I'm going to evaluate this game as if he is playing. Okay.
Okay.
I am under the assumption that he is going to play. He's just said it's the best he's ever felt. He's never dealt with a hamstring injury before, but today, Wednesday, September 28th, was his best day as far as how the quad felt, or sorry, quad hamstring felt. Jalen Johnson dealing with the quad. The most value you get from Velus Jones Jr. is not from the offense, but it's from the kick return game, because you look at their starting field position and they did not start a single drive last week aside from the last one that started at the Houston 12 after the Roquan interception. They did not start a single drive past the 25. All right. And if you remember, their best game in the preseason, in that Cleveland game, and even in that Seattle game, a lot of their drives starting past the 30, past the 40. The special teams is not doing them any favors. And credit to the Texans and credit to the Packers and Pat O'Donnell that night for just pinning the Bears back deep and giving them shit field position. Like, that's a credit to the other team's special teams as well. But how are you going to expect if you have to go 80, 85, 90 yards every single drive, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy if you were getting the ball compared to if you were getting the ball at the 40 or the 35 or the 50. Then you're only like, oh, I only got to go 30 yards and we're in field goal range. Man.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you get the boost.
I agree with you. I mean, obviously, who knows? Hamstring injuries are finicky, and who knows, how effective he'll be. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we talked about it at nauseum. This is the guy you spent your first offensive pick on in the draft. So you hope he can be something. But yeah. All right. Let's get into bold predictions as we near the end of this episode. Kevin, what is your bold Justin Fields prediction?
I got to go with Justin in this game. I think this is a breakout for him. I would be supremely shocked if he struggles in this game. I think he throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and adds about 40 on the ground. And I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to do something after the game to maybe he's going to, do something like this, to
the New
quiet
York
everybody.
crowd? To the Giants
crowd?
Crowd?
Sure. Yeah. Why? What would we do it to the Chicago crowd? I mean, I don't think.
No, but I feel like they'd have more juice at a division game. I don't know.
Yeah,
the Giants.
Sure,
you do that to the Giants.
Why are you shitting on my moment, Jake? You're shitting on my bold prediction, my Justin Fields moment.
No, your prediction itself is fine. The shushing is the part I have the qualm with. No, that's fine.
Yeah, Justin Fields is going to have a game. Bucket.
My bold prediction is that Kyler Gordon gets his first career interception against Daniel Jones, who just is very careless with the ball and famously over his career turns the ball over a bunch. And if Jalen Johnson's not going to play, that's going to put Kyler Gordon in more of a primary position. So Kyler Gordon gets his first career interception is my bold prediction.
I like it. I think I had him getting it week 1. It didn't happen. He struggled a little bit. So that would be a big boost for him if he were able to put his hands on the ball against Daniel Jones. All right. You said you already teased in the beginning. You'll ruin the whole show by saying your prediction in the first 2 minutes or first 2 minutes of this segment. Let's do predictions. Bears, Giants, and let it be. We had to before we do it. I had 3-0 on the year, so if you want to take anyone's word, you should take mine.
That's fair.
2-1. He's still got a winning record as a predictor. He's 2-1, but he's picked against the Bears.
Hey, if I'm wrong, these times that I pick against the Bears and I'm wrong, I'll happily take that. So that's
true.
It works out for me either way. You're at their place. They have the better coach thus far. And they're just playing better.
I don't know if that's true at all. I don't know if that's true.
To this point, Brian Dable has coached
better. I'm not even to this point. Matt Eberflus has been the better coach.
That I would accept even, but not better. Regardless, at their place, I believe they have the better coach. I think this is to this point, I have no reason to believe that the Bears are going to throw a lot and try to put this game away early. So I have a feeling that they're just going to try and trade running games. And, Khalil Herbert's been great, but Saquon Barkley's the better runner. I think this is just going to be such a puke, ugly game. I think the Bears lose this game. Bears lose, just to be clear, 17-14. This game is going to be so ugly.
It's what's the over under at? Can you check real quick?
It's
probably I think it's the lowest total of the week. I'm almost guaranteed.
I would not be surprised.
I think it's 39 something. I think
you're
really
right.
low.
I think it's 39.
With that being said, the Chicago Bears, they are
39
not
and a half.
losing this game. 39.5. Chicago Bears are not losing this game. All right. I'm 3-0 on the year. Clearly, I'm right about every single thing that has ever come out of my mouth, including my take about Justin Fields. And
Yes,
Jake can attest to
famously.
this. Jake can attest to this. I've been right a lot and he's been wrong a lot, and that's okay. That's it's just the way it goes.
The way the news goes. Yep.
We're even on right wrongs in the 4-year history.
Do you have a point that you're getting to at some point here?
Yeah, let's get to it. Chicago Bears are winning this game 24-13. They're going to win this game and cover the spread easily. They're actually underdogs right now. So, yes, they're obviously going to cover the spread. But take the Bears -5 on the alternate spread. Win yourself a little bit of money. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're the better coach team. I think they're the more talented team. They're the team that makes less mistakes. The New York Giants are 30th in the league in penalties. They're going to be penalized more. They're going to, cost them drives due to that. We know Daniel Jones is careless with the football, and the Chicago Bears, especially, in the past couple of games, or just this whole year rather, have had a knack for the football comparatively to last year. Eddie Jackson is back, continuing the streak of winning when he gets an interception. It's really quite an incredible feat that we should talk about next week, and hopefully he gets another one this week. The Bears are going to win this game handily. I truly believe that. 24-13. I don't care if they're going to MetLife. That doesn't mean anything to me. Home field advantage is non-existent for that team. The Cowboys proved that last week. This is a win for the Chicago Bears. This is the moment where Justin Fields shows out, breaks out, shows that he's not going to continue to struggle. He is going to do whatever it takes to be the great quarterback that he knows he can be. He's going to light up the defense. And at this time, in 5 days, it'll be Monday at 8:03 at the end of our Monday postgame show in our studio, you will have much different thoughts about Justin Fields as the quarterback of the Chicago Bears franchise. And that's what I'll end with.
If you believe Kevin and you believe that the Bears will win this game by at least a touchdown, that would pay you 3-1 on your bet of an alternate spread of 6.5.
How much did it pay you?
3-1, better than 3-1 actually.
Light work. It's easy money. It's easy money.
All right, bet it then. Bet it.
I will bet it then. I will 100% bet it.
All right.
I'll put $10 on it. I swear to you.
All right. Well, per usual, we disagreed on a lot of things. Justin Fields, this game, the coaching staff, Justin Fields, and Justin Fields some more. But that's why this podcast is so great. That's why you watch this show, because you're going to get both sides of the coin, boys and girls. That's what we do for you here. We go back and forth, do all the viewpoints, and we yell each other for why the other is wrong. It's great. And that's why you should continue listening to the show and supporting us, because not only do we give you good analysis of what's happening on the field, we entertain you. And we are nothing if not entertainers at the end of the day as well. So for everyone that did listen and watch live today, we appreciate all of you. You guys are the best. You guys continue to support, and we love you for it. This has been Bears Nation Podcast. Come back on Monday for the recap, and we'll see who was right and who was wrong, and I'm sure we're going to argue about Justin Fields some more. But until next time, as always, bear down.
Bear down.